Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of no half-steppin'. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started with the no half-steppin' playoff hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website of renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to that home website, you can find out all of the information about the Renegades of Puck. Once you click on that merchandise tab, you can find the classic logo t-shirt, the Pride logo t-shirt, all of our special event t-shirts, and of course, about 50 other gimmicks, from socks to throw pillows to wall art. We've sold out so that you can buy in Renegades of Puck. We put our logo on basically everything. All profits go directly to the Renegades of Puck. Social media, critically important for you to help us out. We have some new information on these fronts. Please, first, let's start with YouTube. Well over 130 subscribers now, and we have plenty of room for more recruits in the trenches. So please, let people know about Renegades of Puck TV on our YouTube channel. Once you see those links on our YouTube channel, we would love it if you would share those on your Facebook feeds. If Facebook isn't your preferred method of using social media, then please use Twitter, retweet, like, or pass the links around yourself and tag the Renegades of Puck. All of the individual Renegades of Puck are all very active on that particular platform. You can also find the Renegades of Puck on Instagram. And now, the audio-only version of the podcast Renegades of Puck can be found everywhere that you can find podcasts. That's right. Spotify and beyond, the entire universe now can find the Renegades of Puck in podcast form. We have beefed up that part of what we are doing here in the trenches, so we would appreciate your support. And we certainly want to send a thanks to Broken Controller Media and everything Justin has done to help us get all of that organized and operated. So that's just another way that you can consume the essence of no half-stepping. You can also check out our behind-the-scenes live stream on Twitch. We typically go plug to plug, but this time of the year in the playoffs, we don't have time for all that extra messing around. We're still interactive, so you can reach out to us at any time during our recording of Renegades of Puck TV. You'll still get the information before everybody else, but right now, we're focusing on getting the show out as quickly as possible. So we are limiting the bonus content, but we are having quite a bit of fun still over on the Twitch stream, and you get to see the second takes, the mistakes, and of course, any F-bombs that happen when the Predators don't lose by 7 goals. We let those air right on the episodes of Renegades of Puck TV. You can become a partner of the Renegades of Puck by going to Venmo and searching out Renegades of Puck, or just scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Every single donation to the Renegades of Puck helps out tremendously. As you can see, we've made significant upgrades since the first days back in October here to the bunker, and I am looking to add some additional equipment after talking with a little bit of consultations on some engineering. Looks like we need to add a processor here to help improve a little bit of our sound. So any donations that are Venmo will help us very much. Now I know you're here for the no half-step in hockey coverage, so it is time for me to deliver the goods. It's operation number 648 for the Renegades of Puck. That is right, show number 648. And on this date in hockey history, we are through the third night of the NHL first round playoffs, and I have score updates for you. Just going final, the Dallas Stars defeating Calgary Flames 2-0, evening that series up at 1 apiece. The Nashville Predators fall to Colorado 2-1 in overtime. Colorado leads that series 2-0. We'll have full recap of that coming up in just a couple of moments. Also on the ice tonight, the New York Rangers defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins, tying that series up 1 apiece at Madison Square Garden, and the Florida Panthers defeated the Washington Capitals 5-1, tying that series up at 1 apiece. Barkov, a goal and assist for the Florida Panthers in that game. Also, other score results since the last time we had a chance to talk here from the bunker. Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Boston Bruins in Game 2 of that series. Aho, Niederreiter, 2 goals apiece. Carolina leads that series by 2 games, and it looks like it's going to get a lot spicier moving forward, but the Boston Bruins are going to fall to the Carolina Hurricanes. Tampa Bay comes back and ties the series up at 1 apiece with a 5-3 victory in Toronto over the Maple Leafs. A dominant performance by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hedman, a goal and 3 assists for 4 points. Kucherov, a goal and 2 assists for 3 points in that game. That series now shifts back to Tampa Bay. Minnesota defeated St. Louis 6-2. Kaprizov with the hat trick in that game, evening the series up at 1 apiece. And late night, the Edmonton Oilers woke up in Game 2, and their offense was absolutely outstanding. 6-0 over the LA Kings, tying that series up at 1 apiece. Looking ahead to Friday night in the playoff schedule, Carolina-Boston in Game 3, Toronto at Tampa Bay, Minnesota at St. Louis, Edmonton is at Los Angeles. Saturday, of course, we'll see Florida at Washington. Colorado will be at Nashville, and that will be an afternoon start with a 3:30 Central Time puck drop. The New York Rangers will be in Pittsburgh, and the Calgary Flames will be at Dallas. So that gets you caught up on everything that's happened in the last couple of nights in the first round of the NHL playoff bracket. We've seen some really, really good hockey in a couple of these games, and we've seen a host of blowouts. Not unusual at this time of year to see some pretty wacky scores when it comes to the first round of the playoffs. Now listen, we need to talk about what happened between the Nashville Predators and the Colorado Avalanche in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Going into this game, the Colorado Avalanche leading 1-0 with a huge victory. The Nashville Predators never had a chance in the opening game of the series, with Colorado scoring 5 consecutive goals in the first period and blowing the Nashville Predators out of the rink. Connor Ingram had a chance to come in and play 2 periods in that game. John Hines had an opportunity to jumble the lines and take a look at what players might be successful moving forward, and that sets you up for the Nashville Predators against the Colorado Avalanche in Game 2. Now it's time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports. You can check out their work at rebirthsports.com. Of course, you can find them on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They are not just jersey makers, they are hockey tailors, and we are so proud to have them as partners in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. You have seen Renegade couriers be dispatched across the hockey landscape over the last several days, and I am happy to report all couriers have now been successful in delivering those incredible threads from Rebirth Sports. You've seen me wearing those threads all across the hockey community, whether it's skating in league play with the Mighty Drunks and winning Stanley Kegs, or if it's in charity events like the Wish Cup, or even skating on the United States Pond Hockey Championships on Lake Nokomis for the Mighty Drunks in 2017. Everywhere I go, everywhere I skate, everyone wants to know, where did you get those threads? And it's the easiest conversation, because it's Rebirth Sports. They're great people, they're great partners, and they make a great product. Check them out today. Now let's get into that full game recap, and let's go all the way back to May the 5th of the year 2022. We have Game 2 of the Nashville Predators at the Colorado Avalanche in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. John Hines deploys his lines in the following way: Tolvanen, Johansson, and Cunnin, Forsberg, Granlund, and Duchesne, Trennan, Sissons, and Janot, Cousins, McCarron, and Olivier. On defense, Yossi and Favreau, Ekholm and Carey, Borowiecki, and Luzon back in the lineup. And coming back from injury, Connor Ingram gets the start in net for the Nashville Predators. We are just 17 seconds into the first period, and Nichushkin hits the post off of the rush, and we are into playoff intense hockey already. As a matter of fact, the game is incredibly tight out there over the first 5 minutes. The Preds' compete level compared to where they were in Game 1 is very good. They have not given up a single shot on goal until 5:25 of the first period, when McKinnon scores his third goal of the series, putting Colorado up 1-0. It was Luzon with a terrible pinch at the blue line. Instead of backing off and protecting against McKinnon going on the rush, he went ahead and leaned in a little bit too far. McKinnon comes down on the wing, and you know he is going to score a lot of times when giving this much time, space, and opportunity, especially when he gets the speed going. So McKinnon puts Colorado up 1-0 on Luzon's terrible pinch. 6:47 of the first period, Connor Ingram comes up with a save on Kadri through traffic. 8:41, Kemper comes up with a save on Roman Yossi. First time we've mentioned Kemper's name, and we're almost halfway through the first period. 10:35 of the first period, McKinnon's off the box, 2 minutes for rushing. Ingram, though, would have to come up with the biggest save of this power play. A shorthanded save after Makar is on the 2-on-1 rush. A brutal power play. As a matter of fact, virtually zero possession, no zone time, and every time the Preds did get across the blue line, the puck would just be dumped back down the length of the ice. 14:23 of the first period, Ingram comes up with a glove save on Comfort. 15-19, Trennan's first goal of the playoffs ties this game up at 1 apiece. It was a 2-on-1, and instead of passing, he chooses to take the shot. He goes short side and converts for the Nashville Predators. This game is tied at 1 apiece. 16:48 of the first period, Byram's off the box, 2 minutes for hooking on Janot. The Herd line was just absolutely working their classic cycle style out there like we have not seen a whole lot since last season. It was great to see them out there after apparently getting a talking to between Games 1 and Game 2 by the coaching staff. They were definitely making an impact out there on this shift for a full 40-plus seconds. A better power play for the Nashville Predators, but the Colorado penalty kill is just relentless, and the Preds are unable to get much done. We hit the end of the first period, and the Nashville Predators are out shooting the Colorado Avalanche 11-8. In the second period, 37 seconds in, Carrier's off the box, 2 minutes for hooking. We'd see a decent penalty kill by the Nashville Predators. 4:41, Ingram would come up with a save on Kadri. 5:14, Ingram, another save on Byram off of the rush. 5:45 the second. Forsberg's off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Ingram would have to go to work right here. He'd have to come up with a big save on Makar, and then Trennan would also go to work. He'd come up with a shorthanded scoring opportunity and then deliver the jam, and a little subtle nuance right here, forcing Kemper to cover the puck and get the whistle so that it would add to a face-off in the offensive zone for the Nashville Predators, but would also give them an opportunity to get a change while the whistle was blown. A disciplined penalty kill by the Nashville Predators. That play right there, a perfect example of that. 8:22 of the second period. Ingram comes with the save on Sturm, who's crashing the slot hard. I made this notation because we're halfway through the period, and the shots on goal are 13-2 in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. As a matter of fact, we're not even 10 minutes into the period yet. We're 8 minutes into the period. 9:32 of the second period. Fabro's off the box, 2 minutes for roughing. Thought this was kind of a weak call. Thought McKinnon might have embellished this just a little bit. Might have been a non-call at all, or probably should have been evened up if you just determined that Fabro needed to have a penalty in this situation. Trennan, again, incredible on the PK. Borowiecki is blocking a shot and sacrificing the body, and the Nashville Predators are competing incredibly hard out there for survival in this game. The Herd line comes up with another strong shift at the 15-minute mark of the second period. It was the best pressure of the entire period of the Nashville Predators, who have literally been under siege since the beginning of the second. 17:21, Ingram still with a save on Nichushkin. 19:57 of the second period. All hell is breaking loose because we have a wild scramble, and the puck is put into the net. But there is a Colorado Avalanche player that is riding Connor Ingram like a pony, and I don't think that that is allowed. But the way the NHL sometimes reviews goals, I wouldn't be surprised if this was emphatically waved off by the referee behind the net immediately because, of course, there is a player riding the goaltender at this moment in time. It is challenged. It is upheld as a non-goal, which leads to a bench minor for 2 minutes. We go into the third period. And 5 seconds into the third period, so right off the opening puck drop, Nichushkin's off the box, 2 minutes for high sticking. This leads to now a 5-on-3 for the Nashville Predators for 1 minute and 52 seconds. Almost immediately, Forsberg gets a great look with plenty of time, and he hits the post. Then Ingram would have to come up with the biggest save of the 5-on-3 situation, a shorthanded 2-on-1. 3 players on the ice in total, and 2 of them somehow are getting a scoring chance on the rush against the Nashville Predators. This was highly disorganized and just simply didn't get the job done. I think you're going to come to find out this would come back to haunt the Nashville Predators considerably. 2:35 of the third period. Ingram with a save on McKinnon. 5:50. Kemper stops Yossi off of the rush. 8:47. Ingram a save on Manson. 10:06. Ingram pad save sliding across the back post on Kadri. The biggest save of the game and the best save of the entire game of either netminder without a doubt. 13:02. Cunnins off the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking. It's amazing. When they announced he got a penalty, it was the first time I noticed he was in the game. Ingram comes up with a save on McKinnon, a save on Makar, and insane pressure for 2 minutes plus a continuation after the Nashville Predators get back to even strength. The defenders out there on the ice were absolutely gassed and absolutely dead. Tanner Jeannot ends up with a shift of 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the penalty kill. The fact that the Predators survived this is otherworldly. 17:32 of the third period. Kemper comes up with a save on Forsberg's wrist shot. Shots on goal at the end of regulation. Colorado Avalanche 42. The Nashville Predators are at 20. So the Preds have only managed to generate 9 shots on goal through the final 40 minutes of hockey. We are 52 seconds into the overtime session, and Ingram's coming up with a save on Kadri. 2:22. Kemper stops Granlund's redirect off of Forsberg's setup. 6:48. Kemper comes up with a save on Forsberg on the doorstep. The Preds had a glorious opportunity to put this game away right here, but they were unable to convert with the jam. 6:53. Kemper, another save right here on Olivier. The Preds, 5 shots on goal in the overtime session. Again, they were only able to generate a total of 9 shots on goal in the final 40 minutes. They've generated now 5 shots on net in the first 6:53 of the overtime. Unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, it all comes crashing down pretty quickly after that. 8:31. It's Makar, his second of the playoffs. Roman Josi blocks a shot. The loose puck finds its way into the slot. Makar finishes his thing off, putting it into the net behind Ingram. And we see a 2-1 final in overtime at the 8:31 mark of the first overtime. The Colorado Avalanche for the game outshoot the Nashville Predators 50-26. Connor Ingram went 48 out of 50 in his first ever NHL playoff start, and I thought he looked remarkable. After facing off against McKinnon on the rush on the first shot he faced in this game and giving up a goal, he didn't give up another until the 8:31 mark of the overtime session, going 48 out of 50 in this game. Don't forget he played 2 periods in the previous game, so 78 out of 82 in 108 minutes played. And I've got to tell you, he has absolutely earned his place on this team moving forward next year as the backup goaltender. He's accomplished all he needs to accomplish at the AHL level, and he certainly proved himself on the biggest stage against the best team in the Western Conference tonight. He was otherworldly. It was great to watch Connor Ingram. I'm so disappointed that he wasn't able to come away with the victory. The team wasn't able to pull this one out for him. So 78 out of 82 in 108 minutes. And if UC Saros is healthy, and only if he is healthy, of course, we've gotten word that he is skating but not wearing his equipment yet. I don't know if that means he's going to be ready for a Saturday afternoon game. Connor Ingram has proven in this start and in his relief appearance in Game 1 that he is fully capable of taking over the starter's crease for Game 3 and maybe getting the Nashville Predators to fight back into this series. Nostradamus is going to have a lot of opinions on that, so let me throw everything over to him. If it happens between the pipes, it's well within his domain. You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. He is the one and only Nostradamus.
Thanks, Charlie. I've often said that losing a blowout in the playoffs is pretty easy if you look back on it compared to how you lose a game like the Predators lost in Game 2 at Ball Arena in overtime after an absolutely magnificent performance by Connor Ingram. First NHL playoff start, 48 out of 50 shots stopped by Connor Ingram. Gave up a goal on his first shot allowed and a goal, of course, on the last shot given up. Just absolutely stupendous performance by Connor Ingram. Unfortunately for him, not enough offense generated by the Predators. He did absolutely everything to keep this team in it, and they just could not get anything going offensively. In soccer terms, the Preds basically parked the bus. They played very tight in their own zone defensively, tried to keep everything to the outside, which they did sometimes, but the amount of opportunities this Colorado Avalanche team earned in Game 2 were just astronomical. They outchanced the Predators. They outshot them. They outpossessed them. They did everything except outscore them until the overtime period. Not to say the Preds didn't have a few chances scattered and sprinkled in there. Of course, the big 5-on-3 at the beginning of the third period, that usually spells disaster for a team when they can't capitalize on an extended 5-on-3, and it turned out that was the case again in Game 2. What a spot to be put in if you're Connor Ingram. First NHL playoff start on the road against the best team in the Western Conference. And he was absolutely cool as a cucumber out there. Every save he made, he was just sound, positionally sound with his edge work. Very simplistic, but very, very effective. No, he's not UC Saros with the flashy saves and the flashy splits and just insane edge work and reading the play. He just goes and does what he needs to do. And that's get in position to make the save and let your defense help you out also on any rebounds. And that's exactly what he did the entire night. There's not much more you can say about Connor Ingram. I feel for him. When you have a performance like that and come out on the losing end, I said this a couple nights ago about Igor Shesterkin stopping 79 out of 83 shots in triple overtime loss. There's no easy way to go about it. You saw his head after the puck went in. He got a piece of it. Not enough, obviously. Dejected, head goes down. Kid, you were marvelous. And standing ovation to you. And I hope the crowd in Bridgestone Arena on Saturday gives you a massive standing ovation, because you are the only reason this game wasn't a repeat of Game 1 and go home 2-0 getting blown out a couple times. My hat's off to you, Connor Ingram. You were marvelous, sir. And Nashville, least you can do is come back home, get a victory in Game 3. They've done it every single time they've lost the first 2 games on the road. They've won Game 3 and Game 4. So the Preds, come back home, do that again, get it back to Colorado at least, and have an opportunity to steal a series. Connor Ingram showed without a shadow of a doubt, after Game 2, you give him the slightest bit of offense, and he will steal a series, let alone just one game. He can't put the puck in the net, guys. You have to do that for him. Next game, different lineup, I would venture to say, especially for the fourth line. Maybe a little bit more youth, maybe a little bit more offensive capabilities. You already have the Herd line out there to pound Colorado into the ground, get a little bit more offense going. You're obviously not generating enough. And how little did the Preds generate? This was only the third time all season where the Preds gave up 2 or fewer goals and came out on the losing end of things. So, again, usually 2 goals or less, the Preds are nearly unbeatable. Colorado proved Game 2 they can still beat them in a 2-1 game, or it's a 7-2 game. They can still come out victorious. Preds, back at it in Game 3.
You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. He is the one and only Monstradamus, the starting goaltender of the Renegades of Puck. Strong Style Fitness, incredible partner of the Renegades of Puck. You can find Strong Style Fitness at strongstylefit.com or social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, all set up completely on demand and donation-based. That's right, Renegades of Puck. Strong Style Fitness made this entire catalog of workouts completely free for you. I've seen the results, I've experienced the results, and I know that you will as well. Invest the time in Strong Style Fitness because Strong Style Fit has been willing to jump in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Stick tap, love, and respect to our incredible partners over there, making sure that the Renegades are all fit to fight. Now, let's talk about Trenin in this game. Let's talk about the Herd line in this game. I thought that Yakov Trenin was incredible in this game. He was dynamic, whether he was out there on the penalty kill, generating scoring chances, or just taking his regular shift. He was physical, he was noticeable, and he was generating offense against the Colorado Avalanche this entire game. I wish that the rest of the Nashville Predators forwards could have followed with the same level of jam that Yakov Trenin brought in this game. It could have been a very different night overall. I just felt that he was playing a style that we haven't seen from the Herd line in quite some time. As a matter of fact, let's just bring that out to the bigger picture of the entire Herd line. Sissons, Jeannot, Trenin, all 3 of them were way more noticeable in Game 2 tonight than they have been in the last 30 games, maybe even more. They haven't been running the old classic cycle where they are out there physically punishing teams and keeping control of the puck and then generating offensive opportunities, setting up the next line with an offensive zone face-off. They haven't been doing that as of late. They haven't been noticeable. The offensive drought is one thing. Of course, everybody notices that. But they haven't been playing as a cohesive Herd line as we have come to know and love them as a cult fan favorite here in Nashville. We saw a lot more of that tonight. We need to see a lot more of that going forward if the Nashville Predators are going to have any opportunity to climb back in this series. And they will have an opportunity as they come back home for games 3 and 4. But you also have to point out the ugly in this game. While Trenin and the Herd line and the old identity was great to see, what really reared its head in this one is the failure on the 5-on-3 to begin the third period. The Nashville Predators had a top 10 power play all season long, and tonight they were absolutely abysmal. Yes, you have to give stick taps to the Colorado Avalanche and their penalty kill unit. They were doing good things. They were in the right positions, and they were certainly making the plays and generating their own scoring opportunities. But the Preds with a top 10 power play unit at the end of the season, failing to generate any offense on the 5-on-3. It just simply isn't going to work out. And unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, is this now another sign of the dreaded postseason power play curse that this team has suffered for so many years? You've heard about it out here in the trenches for a long time, Renegades of Puck. So for the Nashville Predators, this was the moment in the game where they lost the game. A 5-on-3, and they were unable to convert and unable to generate any offense. When you are pinned in and under siege the entire game in your own defensive zone, when you're given a 5-on-3 opportunity, you have to seize it, and you were unable to. Let's talk to Sean C. Smith right now from ontheforecheck.com. He's got the intel that you need to know, so I appreciate him jumping in the trenches and talking all things Game 2. Let's just turn it over to Sean C. Smith from ontheforecheck.com right now.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades. Sean C. Smith. It's late. The game just ended, and I'm going to keep this brief. Now, normally, I could go on at length and talk about different things, but I'll say this. You've heard me talk enough about what the Predators needed to do to try to neutralize the speed of the Colorado Avalanche. You did not see it for the first half of the first game, but the Predators showed up and did what they needed to do to slow down the Avalanche in the second game. That's a very big positive coming out of Game 2. And even though the Predators are down 2 games now, they come back into Nashville, and hopefully that will give them the boost they need to get a win in the win column. But here's the cold, hard reality. What actually went wrong tonight? If you recall, if you were watching on Bally Sports, they put a little graphic up that showed the expected goals that each team had produced after, I believe, the second period. It appeared that the Avalanche had over 4 expected goals already, while the Predators just over 1. Now, I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm really not. That's Brian's job. He's probably going to talk about those numbers. He probably needs to talk about those numbers, but the reality is Connor Ingram was the reason that game stayed close. Connor Ingram was 100% the reason that game stayed close. You probably just got done hearing Mosh talk about that, and he's right. Connor Ingram kept that game close enough that the Predators had a chance to win going into overtime. But I want to talk to you about why the game went into overtime, because I mentioned that the Predators did find a solution to the Avalanche speed. But what they did not do was find a solution to their own offense. I talked about after the first game how it seemed like the Predators didn't want to commit to getting established in the offensive zone, activating their defenders, and getting people in front of the net. After all, good things happen in front of the net, but it seemed like every time they got into the zone in Game 1, they fired off a quick shot and got out. And what I saw happen in this game, in Game 2, was a lot of the same thing. The Predators weren't generating high-danger chances because they weren't spending a lot of time in the offensive zone getting an attack set up, because they didn't want to commit the last 2 guys into the zone into the offense. They wanted them to be back and be ready for a breakaway. When you get up and you take a shot, if there's a rebound and you've got all 5 of your guys committed to the net front, committed to being in that scoring setup, what might happen is somebody on the Avalanche might clear that puck to somebody waiting toward the back of the zone who is much faster than anyone on the Predators, which leads to a breakaway, an odd man rush, a situation basically where they're going to have a really good high danger chance on the net without anyone in front of them besides the goalie. That was what basically kept the Predators from doing what they needed to do offensively, was that fear of the Avalanche's speed when it came to a breakaway or to spring a guy loose or something like that. That was 100% what happened. That's what happened in all of Game 1. It's what happened in all of Game 2. Brian is probably going to talk to you next, and he's going to talk about how there were very few people that really generated much chance at all when it came to scoring a goal, and he's exactly right. The reason why that happens, the reason why those numbers are as bad as they are, the numbers Brian's about to tell you about, is because of what I just said. They're getting in, taking a shot, and being ready to defend. Now, there's nothing wrong with defending. The problem is that when you're focused on defending, you're not focused on scoring. And you can't beat a team, no matter how good your goalie plays, if you don't have the goals to back it up. That's what the Predators need to do if they're going to win any games in this series. When they come back to Nashville, when they eventually go back to Colorado, if they can put some wins together here, they're going to have to commit to scoring. That's why a lot of these players that you've seen put up big numbers all year aren't putting up anything, is because they're falling away from their regular offensive plan, which gets guys in front of the net and gets all 5 skaters involved in offense. Charlie, it's probably not what you wanted to hear, but I'm going to send it back over to you.
You can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF, and you can watch my here on Renegades of Puck TV from ontheforecheck.com. He is the one and only Sean C. Smith. Stripe Digital Solutions is another incredible partner of the Renegades of Puck. The logo on the wall behind me, the logo on the jersey that I am wearing right now, renegadesofpuck.com, our social media, our brand building, all of that goes through Stripe Digital Solutions. With the modern world and all of the different nuances and platforms that you need to be able to manage, you're going to need help, you're going to need support, and you're going to need a good partner. That's where Stripe Digital Solutions comes in. Please check out stripedigitalsolutions.com or go to social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and get the conversation started with Brandy today. Stripe Digital Solutions is an incredible partner to the Renegades of Puck. They help me, and I know they can help you. Now, let's talk about the numbers from this game. When it comes to the box score, there's not a lot to report on. Trennan with the goal in this game for the Nashville Predators. Carrier and Yossi had the assists in this game. When it comes to shots on goal, Philip Forsberg did generate 6 shots on goal, also did hit a post, which does not count as a shot on goal. And when it comes to block shots, Mark Borowiecki had 8 blocked shots in this game. You definitely have to point that out and give stick taps for that situation. The Captain Romeo was second in this game with 5 blocked shots. When it comes to the physical part of the game, Tanner Jeannot had 6 hits, Matthew Olivier had 6 hits, Colton Sissons had 6 hits, but Luzon had 7 hits in his first game back from injury for the Nashville Predators. When it comes to time on ice, Mikhail Granlund, as you've become accustomed to, led the forwards in total time on ice with 23:39, and of course the captain Roman Josi led the entire team in time on ice, 27:47 in total. And Connor Ingram, in his first ever NHL playoff start for the Nashville Predators, 48 out of 50 in this game, and was absolutely incredible, easily earning his future as a Nashville Predator. We need to get some analytics. We need to get some stats. So that means we need to go over to the analytics desk with Brian Baston. He's also from ontheforecheck.com. He's got the numbers that you need to know and the charts you need to see. You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. Brian, go right ahead.
Well, damn it. I mean, I don't know what else to say after a game like that. Connor Ingram played his absolute heart out, had maybe one of the best goaltending performances in franchise history, and still the Predators walk away from this losers in game 2, 2-1 in overtime from, of course, it has to be Cale Makar with the game-winning goal in overtime. And Nashville now heads back home and will play again in Bridgestone Arena here in a couple of days, down in the series 0-2. So let's try to talk about some positives. And actually, I will talk about 2 positives tonight. Obviously, you know what one of them is going to be, but let's go ahead and start. Let's get in with this tonight's edition of One Big Stat, but we're going to make it 2. So let's get started. First off, I want to highlight maybe the only other bright spot in this game besides Connor Ingram, and that is the play of Yakov Trenin. All season long, Yakov Trenin has been extremely effective on the forecheck on defense as part of that herd line where their whole job is to play physical, to create chances in transition, forecheck really hard, create those turnovers and score off the rush. And it's exactly what Yakov Trenin did early in the game to make the score 1-1. Now, as I mentioned on Twitter earlier tonight, on the very next shift, Tanner Jeannot and Trennan were back at it again, created 2 more chances in that very next shift, and kept the momentum going Nashville's way, and would stay that way for the rest of the first period. Unfortunately, as we know, anything that was related to momentum for the Nashville Predators had disappeared by the time they'd started the second period. Now let's talk about what we all want to talk about. The man of the hour, the man of the evening, or the playoff series even for the Nashville Predators, and that is Connor Ingram. Since he took over for David Riddick in the middle of game 1, he has faced 74 shots on goal, saving 70 of them, just 4. That is a save percentage of 94.6%. That's incredible if you look at the type of volume, the type of talent that he's facing in the Colorado Avalanche. He has come in just his first playoff start and his 4th NHL game overall in his career, and has come in and it looked like a bona fide NHL goaltender. A guy that, if he continues to develop this season, he could be a starter on another team. I think that, the best thing that you can take away from this game, other than that, with Connor Ingram playing the way he did, is that there's some good hope for the future because, whatever you think of the argument that UC Saros was overworked this season, if it contributed to his injury, those types of things, I don't think Nashville will have to rely on UC Saros so heavily next season if this is the type of play that they can expect from a guy like Connor Ingram. And remember, Connor Ingram came to Nashville from the Tampa Bay Lightning as a 7th round pick. That's an unbelievable steal in a day and age that we talk and reminisce about a lot of bad trades for the Nashville Predators. That one had to be maybe one of their best in recent history. So yes, Nashville didn't do a lot of good things. I'd argue that they did very few good things tonight, but they kept this Colorado Avalanche team to a 2-1 loss in overtime. And yes, this isn't the regular season. There are no points for losing, but this could have been much, much worse had it not been for Connor Ingram. And if Nashville could have had any semblance of offense, especially from their top six, which was basically absent this entire game. Maybe they'd have a chance at winning this. They could have come back to Nashville with the series tied 1-1 and had 5 games remaining in the series with 3 back in Nashville. Unfortunately, they didn't do that, and so they face an incredibly hard uphill climb. I think my colleague Alex Doherty said that Nashville is 6-0 when they go back to a Game 3 in the playoffs after being down in the series 0-2. That's a pretty good number, and shout out, stick taps to you, Alex, because that's a great stat you pulled. Well, we got a little bit of time before Game 3. I hope you guys get rest, and we'll do this all again on Saturday. Back to you, Charlie.
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. You can check out his work at ontheforecheck.com, and you can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. Stick taps Brian for jumping in the trenches with me this evening on Renegades of Puck TV. Let me tell you about Blessed Day Coffee, an overtime game in the playoffs with an 8:30 puck drop. That is going to lead to some heavy eyelids coming up tomorrow morning. So I've got to tell you about a deal right now from our good friends at Blessed Day Coffee. Get Banner's Blonde Roast or Ultimate Espresso 10% off with the code FANGS2022. You see that right there on your screen. You do that by ordering at blesseddaycoffee.com. Stick taps, love, and respect to you, Blessed Day Coffee. We sure do appreciate you jumping in the trenches and helping out the Renegades with the logistical support that we need. Puck drops at 8:30. Overtime games staying up well past midnight. Everybody is going to need that little boost to get you through the next workday, or perhaps to stay up for that next late puck drop. So please go to blesseddaycoffee.com and get yourself 10% off with the code FANGS2022. We sure do appreciate you partnering with the Renegades of Puck. Now listen, Ultimate One is here. He's got a reaction to Game 2, and I'm just going to turn it over and let him speak his mind.
No. Well, no. But there, well, there was the, no, yeah.
He is the ultimate predator, and I sure do appreciate him jumping in the trenches tonight on Renegades of Puck TV, as well as Mostradamus, Chauncey Smith, Brian Basson, and Kay Perk, and all the other Renegades of Puck who are helping in support of Renegades of Puck TV. I'm going to close it out by saying this. I've been covering the Nashville Predators locally for many, many years. I covered the first ever playoff appearance by the Nashville Predators. They went up against the mighty Detroit Red Wings. They found themselves down 2-0. They came back to Bridgestone Arena. Thomas Bocoon stood on his head, and the Nashville Predators found a way to squeak out 2 victories, tie the series up at 2 apiece, before going and dropping Game 5 in Detroit and ultimately dropping Game 6 on home ice at the Gaylord Entertainment Center. We would witness this wash, rinse, repeat cycle all throughout the first generation of Nashville Predators playoff hockey. This is very familiar turf to those of you who have been part of the North Balcony Posse, or as it would become known later, Section 303. The Predators have been down 2-0 in many series in their franchise history, and they have typically found a way, thanks to their raucous crowd and the environment that Bridgestone Arena creates, to fight back into the series. It typically takes expending so much energy that they are unable to move forward after Game 4 in a competitive manner, and they typically find themselves losing in Game 5 and Game 6. For the Nashville Predators, they proved they can compete against the Colorado Avalanche tonight, under siege the entire game, perhaps with the line change that the head coach will now have and the home ice advantage at Bridgestone Arena, with the crowd behind them, finding a way to get one more goal, while perhaps Connor Ingram or a returning UC Saros backstops them to a victory. Getting back in the series now for the Nashville Predators is the best they can hope for. If not, if you come back home and you do not put up a maximum effort, or as we like to call it here, if you don't go full no half-stepping in Game 3, you will find yourself down 3-0 in a best-of-7 series. And you will not beat the Colorado Avalanche 4 out of 5 times. Game 3 is a must-win for the Nashville Predators if they hope to continue competing in this series, as opposed to just surviving and perhaps finding themselves either swept or as we like to refer a 5-game series loss, the gentleman's sweep. The Preds have been here plenty of times, and the Preds fans have been here plenty of times before. The difference between the past and the present: before, the Preds were always underdogs, the crowd was always in support and always raucous. Now, I wonder, is the crowd still going to be so full-throated in support of their team going into Game 3? We'll have to monitor. I will discuss right here in the bunker on Renegades of Puck TV.